is when I figured out that businesses that were looking to grow were actually much more comfortable um, paying for leads rather than paying a monthly fee or a retainer. So we used to work with people like mortgage brokers or insurance agents, and we used to just say to them, listen, we can generate you a lead on Facebook or Google, but you don't have to pay us for that privilege unless we get you a result. So we swapped from the retainer method over to selling leads, and our business just exploded, and we were having a lot more success.
Welcome to CRE Radio for influential commercial real estate professionals who work with investors, buyers, and sellers of commercial real estate coast to coast. Whether you're an investor, broker, lender, property manager, attorney, or accountant, we're here to learn from the experts.
Welcome to Commercial Real Estate Pro Network CRE Radio. Thanks for joining us. My name is J. Darren Gross. This is the podcast focused on commercial real estate investment and risk management strategies. Weekly, we have conversations with commercial real estate investors and professionals who provide their experience and insight to help you grow your real estate portfolio. Today's interview is sponsored by Building Insurance and Risk. When you invest in real estate, it pays to work with a real estate investor protection specialist to protect yourself and your investment from catastrophic loss. The experts at Building Insurance and Risk focus on real estate investor protection. They provide you with multiple insurance coverage offers and a side-by-side coverage comparison. To learn more, go to buildinginsurancerisk.com. Today, my guest is Dan Wardrope. Dan Wardrope is the founder of Flexible and the author of The Instant AI Agency, an Amazon best-selling book that reveals a radically different way to make money with AI in 2026. And in just a minute, we're going to speak with Dan Wardrope about how AI can help your business. But first, a quick reminder, if you like our show, CRE Radio, there are a couple things you can do to help us out. You can like, share, and subscribe. And as always, we encourage you to leave a comment. We'd love to hear from our listeners. Also, if you want to see how handsome our guests are, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube at Commercial Real Estate Pro Network. And while you're there, please subscribe. With that, I want to welcome my guest, Dan Wardrope. Welcome to CRE Radio.
Thank you, Darren. I like how you said, check out how handsome your guests are on YouTube. But someone once told me I had a face for radio, so I don't know whether that's a good idea.
I think you're you're doing just fine, and
Thank you.
it's always a good tease to get people to check it out there. So, but hey, I'm delighted to have you. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah,
Before we get started, if you could take just a minute and share with the listeners a little bit about your background.
sure. So, as you can probably tell, I've got a bit of a different accent than maybe what you're used to. I was born in Victoria, Australia, and I spent the first half of my life over there. I did an engineering degree in Sydney and then moved over to the UK when I was about 23. I was actually playing basketball over here and in Europe for the first few years whilst I was over. And then I was one of these people that kind of was working a 9 to 5 job after my career finished, and I pretty much realized that I had uh, a little too much creativity to be working for someone else, and I started dabbling in ways to make money online. I literally typed make money online into Google. I think it was around 2009. It took me through various different ways of making money, which started with affiliate marketing. I was selling other people's products, and then I doubled my hand at SEO, and then I did some Google pay per click and Facebook ads, and it's taken me on a bit of a journey. When I really cracked it, and this could be interesting to your audience, Darren, is when I figured out that businesses that were looking to grow were actually much more comfortable paying for leads rather than paying a monthly fee or a retainer. So we used to work with people like mortgage brokers or insurance agents, and we used to just say to them, listen, we can generate you a lead on Facebook or Google, but you don't have to pay us for that privilege unless we get you a result. So we swapped from the retainer method over to selling leads, and our business just exploded, and we were having a lot more success selling leads rather than retainers, and that's generally when things kicked off for us. Off the back of that, I realized there was a hell of a lot of agencies that were struggling with the same thing that I did, and I created an online program called the Paper Lead Blueprint that exploded. And off the back of that, we've transitioned to AI because one of the biggest problems that business owners have once they have a lead is not being able to follow up with it properly. Um, we would have clients that would order leads from us, but then complain about the lead quality. And we realized that their follow-up systems were pretty rubbish. And it just so happened that AI solves a lot of those problems. And that's where we are today, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yep.
no, I appreciate the kind of the walk down kind of the your path and then also a little bit of the history of kind of the how Google and search and and here we are at AI.
Yeah.
And I'm curious in that, there was a phase when excuse me, when I think they considered it Web 2.0 and I don't remember what that entailed, but I'm curious,
Yeah.
is AI considered a new generation or has it received any kind of monikers as far as where it fits in the progression of search and that and I know it's not limited to search, but
I don't know. I don't know whether it's been actually named anything. All I know is this is without doubt the biggest evolution or change or disruption that I've seen in my time online. And I've been doing this since 2009. I've seen, all the different Google updates. I've seen the SEO updates. I've seen the pay-per-click industry um, like go crazy from the beginning, and then that have trouble. And then I saw the same thing with Meta ads and everything that went on with Facebook. And from what I can tell and from what I'm seeing after implementing AI into a lot of businesses, is that it's just absolutely 10xing anything that I've seen before as far as kind of results go and how much it's helping businesses not only save money but make more money.
yeah. Well, I'm excited to talk with you about this because it's a topic that's clearly it's a buzz and and I'm seeing it and I'm seeing my customers use it and some of my colleagues and I'm
Yeah.
trying to learn a little here and there and so there's plenty of ground to cover. I guess you mentioned kind of the SEO and AI and I'm curious because I'm curious to hear your opinion because I've heard certain things from clients and others who have relied on paid search and are saying, hey, how AI is kind of upsetting their model. Can you speak to
Yeah.
that at all? How AI is affecting what once was kind of a rank system where if you paid enough, you got high enough in the search and got selected, and how AI is affecting that?
Yeah, so we're not really involved using AI on the front end as far as lead generation goes. We have been in the past because we've been doing a lot of paid advertising. But I think the big problem I see a lot of businesses make is that they're constantly worried about, how to generate new leads, how to continue to grow their business via paid advertising or attracting new customers. And that's the reason why I built my book. Sorry, I wrote my book is because we saw so many businesses continuing to ask for more leads and continuing to push and push and push and grow their business that way. But when we dug deeper, we realized that some of these businesses have been advertising for 10 or 15 years and they have a whole host of old leads sitting on their system. Okay. So in their CRM. So what we realized is that hang on, why are people forever trying to attract new business when they have a massive database of old customers, old unconverted leads that they simply do not have time to reach out to? And when we asked them that, they were like, well, we'd love to, but to be able to dial all those old leads or set up a marketing campaign is extremely expensive. And the problem is we have a lot of our sales guys, they're continually trying to close the new leads. They don't have time to work the old leads. And we were kind of like, well, this is an opportunity, but how do we reach out to these old people en masse? And when AI came about, when we could see what we could do with AI, we approached one of our customers and said, listen, how about we take a portion of your old leads? They've had maybe 100,000 plus old customers, and we'll reach out to say 20% of them, 20,000 of your most recent customers. And what we did is we sent an SMS out to each of those 20,000 customers. And once the reply came back, then AI would take over and turn those into conversations like a human. The consumer at the other end didn't know it was AI. It would go back and forth and then book the appointment or make the sale. Um, and we were so surprised to learn that, if it was positioned the right way, the initial SMS, we could get up to 50 or 60% response rate from those old leads. And a large percentage of those would turn into appointment and new business. So you can imagine how excited our customer was when they realized that they didn't have to spend so much money on acquiring new customers. They could actually go out to their database and use AI to solve a problem that was never, ever able to be solved before, which is the whole reason why I wrote my book. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think and I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that uh, the I forget exactly how it's measured, but the amount people spend on generating new leads as opposed to just working the clients prospects that they have in their system that
Yeah.
already know you is
Yeah.
phenomenal. And why that is I don't know if there's like an excitement about something new as opposed to something known, you know,
Mhm.
from just a person standpoint, in a sales when you're in the chase mode, kind of
Mhm.
thing versus, but absolutely, I would think that to just kind of go back and work those leads and to do it in some sort of way where when a human actually engages, the person's teed up and ready for the purchase or the close or whatever, as opposed to the grind of the follow up and all that stuff that takes time and stuff. But if AI can solve that, I mean, that's tell me more.
Does. Yeah, it does. I mean, it's not an insurance I know you're in real estate and it's not the same industry, but your listeners will probably understand how this works. So we've got a client at the moment we're working with, and they spend a lot of money on new customers, and they sell a $97 training certificate. Okay. And they make, I can't remember the numbers they make, but they do a lot of sales per day. Okay. Maybe 500 sales per day. Okay, so they're a big business. Okay, they spend a lot of money on advertising, but their funnel looks like this. Okay, there's an ad that goes to a cart page, and they fill out their name, email, and phone. And then the next stage they go to is putting their credit card details in. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that not everyone makes it through that funnel. Okay. Roughly 50% of people that get through the first stage after they click name, email, and phone abandon cart on the second part of the process. Okay. So what we said to this client is, well, listen, you have your systems to be able to close, 50% of those leads, but can we take the leads after half an hour, the ones that haven't converted, and let us do our thing with them? And we do similar to what I just explained. We send them an SMS and let AI take over and take the sale. And so far, we've been with this client just over a year, and we were doing the maths the other day, and we've generated them over $1 million in new revenue from leads that they would have traditionally forgot about or just lost or left behind because they don't have the ability to turn them into a sale. Um, and we do this on a performance basis too, which means that we take all the risks, we pay all the costs of the SMS and the AI costs, and they just send us 20% of this every dollar we bring in, which means they paid us almost $250,000 in revenue. And they're happy, extremely happy to do this because this was money that they would previously have lost. Such a simple offer, and this is why I believe that there must be hundreds of thousands of businesses out there, Darren, that suffer with this same problem and they don't even know it's here. So when people ask me how much of an impact AI can have, that's a plain example of a business that is taking advantage of it now, and we're really at the early stages of adoption too. So I'm really excited where things are going. It's just plain to see how much money AI can bring to a business, and that's just one small example of a business that's using a small part of AI that can help them grow their revenue.
Got it.
Yeah.
So let's back up just a couple of steps here. We've been talking about AI and we've been talking about the success that you've been able to derive with your clients, combing through existing information or kind of warming up, dead leads or what were considered dead leads.
Yep.
My question, I guess, is it for somebody that's just kind of grasping at and trying to understand AI? I can tell you just a little bit what some of the lingo I know, and I'm just trying to figure out where do you fit in, and how does your book fit in, and how does it help um, you know prospective users of AI? I know
Sure.
there's like different platforms. I don't know, what there's. I think there's free versions that I've fiddled with. There's paid versions.
Yeah.
And can you talk a little bit about, I guess, the different platforms, and is there one that or a couple that are more user friendly or more beneficial to somebody in a sales mode as opposed to other models, or are they all the same?
Yeah. Okay. So let me rewind this. So the book that I've written is angled more towards entrepreneurs and agencies that want to be able to help business owners. Okay. So let's
Okay.
say, for example, you're an insurance agent, uh, and as one of the things that you do, Darren, you just told me before the podcast. So I teach wannabe entrepreneurs or existing entrepreneurs to reach out to you and say, Darren, listen, you're an insurance agent. I know you're constantly looking for new leads you can sell, that you can sell to, but have you ever thought about your database and squeezing more juice out of that? We're happy to take all the risk and we'll close that. We'll be able to reach out to those old leads of yours and turn them into appointments. And you only pay us when you get a result or make some money from them. How about that? And most business owners are pretty much like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, why wouldn't I do that? Especially if it's on a performance basis. So the book's written more towards helping entrepreneurs and agency owners be able to help businesses like yourselves. Does that make sense?
Sure. So not necessarily at the the end user who's trying to generate additional revenue, but the agency that helps the
Yes.
prospect to do that.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
but of
Okay.
course we have some smart business owners that are in my world and in my community. I'll be able to give you links to that after the show. We have business owners that are coming in and running this system as well because they want to cut out the agency owner, and that's absolutely fine too. To answer your second question, there's a kind of CRM system or a hub that we ask these agency owners to use, which is called Go High Level. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Go
Go
higher
High Level.
level.
Go High Level.
Go high level.
So,
Okay.
so if you're an agency owner or want to be entrepreneur or want to start a side hustle, what you need is a central hub to be able to manage all your clients and prospects, to be able to send out emails and SMSs and everything that I've just explained before. Okay. And that Go High Level system easily integrates, has API access to be able to integrate with the LLMs, such as, OpenAI, which is the most famous one, ChatGPT. But basically, so what you can do is connect uh, high level to OpenAI. And once the SMS that I was talking about, you get to reply, then OpenAI can integrate with high level and make sure that the conversation continues and the appointment is booked. It might sound complicated, but this is very, very simple to do, and it's a native integration inside Go High Level. So that's the system we use. But you can integrate with, Grok or other LLMs based on well, there's plenty of different platforms you can use depending on some work better. Claude, for example, is another one that works really well. It just depends on how you want to do it, but very
Got it.
simple.
So just to not to get too deep in the weeds, but just make sure I understood what you said. So go high level is an outside thing that works with the different
Platforms. Yeah.
platforms that,
Different AI platform.
and would those platforms be the platforms that the end user uses, or would those be uh, platforms that the agency that your customer would work with?
Yeah. So when you send the SMS out to the old leads, right? They're a
Right.
consumer. They just get in it. They would just get the SMS on their phone or the WhatsApp message on their phone. They wouldn't know that they're being interacted with AI. They would think it's a human that's a business that's going back and forth with them, if that makes sense. Okay.
Got it. Got
The
it.
the agency would be using the AI platform. Okay.
Got it.
And
Got it.
so would but they would be doing that on behalf of the client.
Okay. And that's all, I'm sure that you can go as deep as you want on this kind of thing, but just as a kind of a foundation of understanding, the agency that a marketing, excuse me, like a retailer, whoever it is that's trying to generate leads would use,
Yep.
would have
Yep.
all this in the back end, and you would
Yep.
be basically just paying for the leads as they're generated, not an ongoing kind of retainer like we've talked about. Uh,
No. So
uh,
our offer is to an insurance agent, for example. I mean, what's the most profitable insurance offer going around at the moment? We've done a little bit of work in this industry. What was the ones? Is it IULs in America? IULs, or I can't remember what they are. There's different insurance products that are actually worth quite a bit when the consumer comes on, right?
RUL, is that like a something Universal Life?
IUL,
Uh,
IULs.
IUL?
I'm
Uh,
not sure. Anyway,
oh,
yeah.
so yeah,
So let's say they've got I mean, as an insurance agent, what do you sell to your customers?
property and casualty. So I mean, I try and work primarily with real estate investors. So
Okay.
so if
Okay.
somebody's buying a building or
And what's the average commission on something like that? I don't know whether you want to share that, but
well, I mean, it's a percentage base, and it just depends on the size of the building, but or the property. But I did one yesterday, sold one. I had like four buildings. Um, like the premium was around 30,000. So in percentage wise, I think then the 10%, I think, because it was a older, more more challenging property, so the commissions were down. But so
yeah.
somewhere around 3 grand ish was what was paid to the agency.
Yeah. So
Uh,
we'd
so
negotiate a deal with you and say, listen, would you be willing to pay per appointment for anything that comes in, or what are you used to paying per lead? And we'd just agree what that is, or depending on whether it's legal or not, we'd share the commission with you. And I know that is challenging in their insurance space. Um, but
yeah,
there's
no,
all sorts of ways around that. Like we could sign up as
right,
a insurance agent ourselves, right, and then refer the lead back to you. There's a few different ways to skin a cat as long as both parties want to make money.
right. Now you gotta watch yourself on
Yeah.
the commission structure and that. But yeah. So anyway, the short answer is that uh, the agency would be the one that would be generating or reigniting, getting the
Yep.
lead warmed up.
Yep.
It's money that would never have been recognized if the traditional system were in place, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and I guess the upside of that too, from an insurance standpoint, is that the agent gets recurring revenues from
Yes.
those on the renewals now, or that's the plan anyway. Um,
Yes.
so
Yeah. 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 It's money for nothing, really. It's money that you don't have to pay Mr. Zuckerberg for. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? If you're
yeah,
advertising. And the same thing would work. I mean, commercial real estate generally, from my understanding, is not a industry where there's, it's more kind of B2B, correct? Rather than a big B2C kind of offer. So, um, it might be harder to have a database of 50,000 people that have commercial property to sell or potentially sell. Okay, so it's not as a straight how AI might help that. kind of industry? Is it, you're going to have to ask me some more questions to see how I can help
Well,
out.
I would think that there are large databases out there that are highly guarded.
Yes.
CoStar is one of the largest, and they fight tooth and nail to protect their secret sauce.
Yeah.
But having said that, I believe that there are other competitors, and I also believe that there's a lot of the information that's provided on these platforms, a bulk of it. I don't say all of it, but clearly, the address and the owner name are publicly available. I mean, if you go to a
Yes.
public database, whether it be you scrape county records or what have you, I think that the challenge is that getting the phone number and or the email is not always readily available, and that's where some of the additional efforts take place or they're required. And so
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
with that, I would ask is that I'm assuming that the AI sales model that you use or that you employ is built around having SMS or email access. You're not looking for postcards and that kind of thing. Is that
Well,
correct?
it's funny funny you were saying that. Okay, because I'm not sure how these big companies acquire those customers. Um, but if I had a hunch, it could be through, as you say, postcard drops, or it could be an advertising campaign on radio. For example, we're working with a supplement company at the moment, and the way that they used to sell those supplements was via radio and TV ads. Okay, so uh, the traditional call to action would be, the ad would be about the supplement, and the traditional call to action would be call this 1-800 number to place your order. You get the 2-for-1 deal, blah, 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 blah. Um, but the way that we're doing it now is we're saying, please SMS in the number 112233, and we'll send you the offer, and then AI takes over and makes the sale, okay, as opposed to having a call center in Puerto Rico taking all of the calls. Okay, and the same thing could be on a postcard drop. So traditionally commercial real estate people might be sending out 100,000 postcards a month to different addresses asking if these real estate developers or owners of the properties are looking to sell. And the call to action on that postcard might be call in this number. Okay. And now instead of having a human being able to man that number, you can have a voice AI agent come in and take the sale, or you can have they could scan a QR code, and the people that scan the QR code can then message back and forth to be able to sell, to book in the appointment to come and view the property, or whatever that is. So there's plenty of different ways to skin a cat, and plenty of different ways that AI can help these days, and that's just off the top of my head.
Sure. So a couple of questions. So I'm getting kind of the idea that the best use for this is kind of a lead generation slash sales support, which is kind of the grind of sales. It's not
Yeah,
because selling something, if you're in front of me and you're ready to buy and I've got something to sell,
yeah,
that's the fun part.
yeah,
The grind is trying to chase you down to get in
yes,
front of you to get your attention to where you'll listen to me or it's at the
exactly.
right time or
Yeah,
you've got time to engage or you have a need because a lot of times sales is timing.
yes.
If I have a solution but you don't have a need, there's
Never going to
there's no,
sell.
yeah, I'm wasting my time,
Never going to
wasting
sell.
your time. But
Yes,
but getting in front of you at the right time when you have a problem or a need, and I have the solution, you're much more ready to hear what I have to say and willing to go through whatever it is to get the solution. So
exactly.
so with that, I see the and I've used oh, what is it, remote workers. There used to be a virtual assistants and stuff to
Yep,
do that. And it
yep,
it was beautiful because from the standpoint of all of that grind work, they were doing all that to where when I was engaging with the customer, they were teed up and ready they wanted to buy.
yeah,
And it was like God, I mean, you just felt fresh and ready to go as opposed to exhausted and beat down to where, almost feel
Yeah.
like, do you want it or not kind of a, presentation,
Yes.
kind of thing. So I see that and that makes complete sense to me.
Yes.
So, and then I guess what I'm trying to understand or just quantify. So basically, your system is all about the leads and generating the leads and the follow up to make sure to
Yes.
find fresh leads, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do you do anything beyond that as far as helping uh the end user fine tune their systems, or is your system more user friendly for somebody that's already has systems and is generating leads, but is missing out on a lot of leads?
Yeah. So, I mean, the vastness of how AI can help is astounding. Okay. One of my, because as I said at the start, I help entrepreneurs or wannabe agency owners um, make money with this offer. Okay. And one of my students came in and he started helping a mortgage broker be able to, with the offer that I just explained, to be able to help them bring in new leads. Okay. But what quickly came about was that, yeah, it's okay to be able to generate new leads and get the decision in principle for their new mortgage. But what happens to that customer after they've had the call, after they've had the decision in principle, they have to gather information about the prospect in order to make sure they can go through with that mortgage. So they need proof of ID, proof of address, some utility bills, all that stuff. That used to have to be done by a human, okay, inside the business. They would constantly hound the person, make sure that everything came in before the next stage of the mortgage came about, okay. And after they collected all the documents, then there was a period of time where they had to wait for the bank, the lender, to be able to approve the mortgage. And then after that, there was a whole other process that kicked in where the consumer would be introduced to a removalist, for example, or an insurance company, or whatever, to be able to take someone all the way through that customer journey to the end. There was a large cost associated with that. So my student got his foot in the door with this mortgage broker and ended up building out the entire customer journey. So AI could look after the document collection to get the decision in principle. Then it could take them to the next stage, which was liaising with the lender and getting signatures and the DocuSign and everything sorted out, all the way through to introducing them to an insurance agent to help with their building and contents insurance. Okay. And AI replaced their entire, well, maybe not their entire, but 90% of this company's um, labor, okay, and costs associated with that process. Their client paid him 1.5 million pounds cash for 20% of his agency 6 months after he landed that client. Okay, because he wanted to snap it all up as part of their internal process, so he couldn't go to their competitors. That's how valuable this is right now, and that's how much AI can help a business. Okay, the client has jingles in the UK, if that makes sense. So they're all over the TV and radio, and they knew they were onto a good thing here. But this is where the market is headed. This is what's going to happen in the future. And very few business owners or even the bigger guys even understand how quickly this can transform their business. Okay. I personally think that we're going to see the economy double within the next 5 years or so because of how much AI is going to help businesses not only make more money, but save more money. We're about to enter an absolute boom that hasn't been seen before. And we're at really just the starting point of that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, I can see the complete upside. I mean, so when you say the economy doubling, do you think that there are going to be like more sales that are? I mean, obviously, if somebody that's engaging in and utilizing this will benefit from the ability to make more sales because
Yeah.
they're keeping more of the leads warm and in front of them, and
Yeah.
the conversion will increase, which will generate additional revenues.
Yeah.
But do you think it will actually create more buyers on a holistic? I mean, will the market size increase, or will it be just those that employ these tools benefit, you know, exponentially by increasing
Hmm.
their funnel size?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. Okay. As you were talking, I was thinking, right? So let's say there's the mortgage market. Okay. And
Right.
let's say that you've got X amount of people each year that want a mortgage. Okay. Is that going to grow? I'm thinking here, is that going to get bigger? Because there's going to be the big players that are early adopters of the technology I just explained that are going to just mop up the majority of the market because they're much more efficient. They're able to spend more to acquire a customer because they know they've got their back end sorted. Okay. And when you're able to do that, you win, which is why uh, the guy I was just explaining's client bought him out because once they had the system in place and it was theirs, they can spend more to acquire a customer. So I think what you'll see is these businesses just take the majority share and a lot of the minnows fall off. Um,
Right.
uh,
That makes more sense because I was going like, okay, and I can
yeah.
see the strong will become I mean, super strong,
Yes.
where the traditional kind of one at a time are going to fall away just because
Yeah.
they become irrelevant from a standpoint
Yeah.
of
Yeah. And then there's probably going to be a race to the bottom as well because then the second stage adopters will start adopting this technology and then it'll be on an even keel and then the big guys are going to have to reduce their price. Okay, so for example, let's say in the solar panels market, okay, which is incredibly lucrative in America, big huge industry, you'll probably see that some big guys will mop up the majority and then the cost of solar panels will come down. Um, which will mean that the average consumer is paying less for the solar panels, probably because they're going to have less money because they might be out of work because they used to work for that mortgage company.
yeah, that replaced them with AI. Yeah.
Yeah, they're replacing with AI. So
Yeah.
generally, I think it's going to be who knows where it's going to. I know big business and business as a whole are going to make more money. Okay, whether they share that with their employees, it's another thing. And it's going to be interesting to see where things go. But I predict that the cost of things will come down, which is a good thing. Okay, a good
Got
thing
it.
for everyone, especially as a lot of people go into perhaps universal credit and um, start. I mean, we're getting onto philosophical um, debate here, but that means that they might be earning less money, but they might be invested more into their community and growing their own food and things. Who knows where this is going to go? I like to think that might be the where it's heading.
No, I mean, anything that disrupts markets, if you're an early adopter, you have a lot of opportunity, a lot upside. Um,
Yeah,
and we've been through, multiple things, and they'll continue to come our way, and so I think this is exciting because I mean, I'm just seeing some examples customers are presenting to me on how they're using AI, and I'm like blown away by like, wow. I mean, just more of it's a time saving thing, and well, what we've been talking about here primarily is a time saving thing, but B, doing a lot of the work that's just a pain in the rear to do,
yeah,
and there's really no shortcut. You have to engage and get the interest of a potential buyer. But when you can do that on a massive scale with little or no effort on
yeah.
your own,
And
yeah,
cost as well.
yeah. I mean, it works. I mean, if you're constantly, if everybody you're talking to is a buyer, as a person in sales, if everybody you're talking to has a problem and you have the solution,
Yeah,
that's like printing money
yeah.
versus spending all your time trying to find the person that needs your solution and then,
Timing,
getting
as you
one
said.
sale, as
Yeah,
opposed to this model, you could have done, 5 or 10 sales.
yeah,
So,
exactly,
so
exactly.
I get
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And with insurance, for example, like there's renewals every year, okay? And yeah, you probably have renewals that come up and you have maybe an automated email or something that goes out. But, if someone replies to that automated email, how quick is it before you get back to them? Okay, you might be on the phone closing some other guy. Okay, and then you miss the boat. AI will get back to that person immediately and book them in for that consultation for you.
Right. No, and that is key because a lot of times, the leads that are generated, whether it be by a web form or whatever, it could be, if you're getting back to them half a day later,
Too late.
the opportunity is lost. When
Yeah,
when they engage, they're there and ready to reply, and so yeah, timeliness is critical to
speed to lead. Yeah, you would be
convert.
amazed. You would be amazed, Darren, at how many big businesses and profitable businesses take half a day to get back to a lead and still
Well,
a
it's
profit.
just the nature of the clock. If somebody's online at 10 o'clock at night and your business is closed,
Yeah,
and 8 o'clock in the morning you open up and you go, I got a couple leads, and you do this, make coffee, and you you get back to them. They could
too
very
late.
easily already have their solution, and they thanks but no thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, no, I get it.
AI
So
solves that problem. No problem. Speed to lead. Yep.
yeah, so let me just ask you in the spirit of kind of a commercial real estate, you've got a couple of different you know, people or levels in the transaction. And I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are. Who would benefit most? You've got commercial real estate brokers, people that actually, talk to buyers and sellers of real estate. You have property managers, the people that lease space.
Yeah.
You have insurance agents, you have mortgage brokers. Is there
Yes.
any one of those that you feel like would have the opportunity to benefit more, or is it kind of a level playing field that all have a similar opportunity?
Who owns the lead?
I mean, I think everybody has a lead, right? I mean, when you say who owns a lead, I would say probably a lot of, uh, well, for a transaction, for a purchase of a property, I would say that the real estate brokers probably the starting point. They know that somebody has a property to sell.
Yes. So the person who owns the lead
Yep.
owns the race course. They're the ones that can monetize that lead the best. Okay. As I explained with my mortgage broker example, my student, okay, he was able to take that lead, um, turn them into a mortgage customer, but then they had the ability to put offers in front of that lead. Okay, so if it was the person looking for a mortgage, then what else does a person with a property need? Okay, they need insurance. They need a removalist. Well, I mean, what else do they need? They need boxes to pack up their stuff. There's a ton of different offers that can be put in front of that person that the person that owns the lead has. So in your instance, the who was the person that owned the lead?
The commercial real estate broker,
A
assuming they,
commercial real
yeah,
estate broker.
yeah.
Okay, so after the lead comes in, they're able to build that. But basically, they'll have a procedure in their business where they are able to take that lead and then they can refer them to different parts of or different offers. Okay, so they all of the different business partners that you spoke about. So what the simplest way to think about it is this business has their SOPs or their procedures in writing. You can feed that information to AI, and then AI can take that lead and automate that whole referral process so they can do it without so much labor and money, if that makes sense. It's probably the clearest
Yeah,
way I can explain it. So who
yeah,
who owns the lead owns the money.
got it.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, if we could, I'd like to shift gears here for a second.
Yeah.
As I've mentioned, by day, I'm an insurance broker. And as such, I work with my clients to assess risk and determine what to do with the risk. And there's three strategies we typically consider. We first look to see if there's a way we can avoid the risk. If that's not an option, we look to see if there's a way we can minimize the risk. And if we're not able to avoid nor minimize, we look to see if we can transfer the risk. And that's what an insurance policy is. It's a risk transfer vehicle.
Yeah.
And as such, I like to ask my guest if they can look at their own situation. Could be the market, the economy, could be the adoption of AI. Whatever it is that you identify and consider to be the biggest risk. And again, for clarification, while I'm an insurance broker, I'm not necessarily looking for an insurance related answer. And so if you're willing, I'd like to ask you, Dan Wardrope, what
Yeah.
is the biggest risk?
Yeah. So I explained at the start of the call my journey, which has took me all the way from being a basketball player to starting a job to typing that into Google, make money online, to running an SEO agency, to selling other people's products via affiliate marketing, to running a pay-per-lead agency, to getting involved with AI. At every stage of that process, there was a massive obstacle or there was something in my journey at that point in time that said, it's all going to hell. It's all over. You might as well give up now and go get a job somewhere. But from my experience, and I've been doing this a little while now, is that every time there's an obstacle or a point where I'm holding my hands up and going, I can't do this anymore, that's when a breakthrough is made. And that's when you're able to innovate and go to the next level. So the biggest risk for me personally is to not look forward to that moment in time, to when the next thing's going to happen, and not tackle that as an opportunity, and turn my back on it and give up, because it's hard. It's hard to do, especially as you get a little older and you've got less energy than you used to have. So for me, um, looking at adversity and not facing it is the biggest risk for me personally. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, Dan, where can the listeners go if they'd like to learn more or connect with you?
So the best way they can learn more about my offer and installing AI into their business, if they're an entrepreneur or they're an insurance agent or a commercial property person, is to buy my book. And there'll be a link. I'll pass over that link to you, Darren, so you can put it in the show notes or the description on YouTube. That's the best way to find me. I've also got a community on a platform called school.com, and I'll put a link, that's skool.com, and there'll be a link below where people can find me there as well if they want to hit me up. I'm always on there, so they want to DM me and chat. I always get back to my people. So they're the two best places.
Will it be you or will it be AI?
There's currently no AI integration on the school platform, but people do ask that. But I always get back to most people personally.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, hey, Dan Wardrope, I cannot say thanks enough for taking the time to talk. I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot and look forward to doing it again soon.
Thanks, Darren. Best of luck. Speak
All
soon.
right. For our listeners, if you like this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, the more you know, the more you grow. That's all we've got this week. Until next time, thanks for listening to Commercial Real Estate Pro Network's CREPN Radio.
You're listening to CREPN Radio for influential commercial real estate professionals. For more information on this or any of our guests, like us on Facebook, CREPN Radio.